Oh, just get on with it. You've probably only got about 3 people watching anyway. They're all related. Oh, it's too hot for any of this. Just hurry up with the countdown. It's like you're doing a launch at NASA or something. Welcome to Masters of None. Coming up on tonight's show, the perfect setup run and gun edition. Run and gun. I thought this was about cameras. A gun. I don't know if I agree with any of it. Also, we'll have our picks of the week. So welcome to episode 10. How do we get there? The perfect setup, run and gun edition.
Mate, I don't know about you, but when we started this, I don't know. He's off. He don't care. He's left. He's left the building. He's getting a beer. Oh, he's putting a light on.
I've got enough battery now.
When we started this, we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna prepare loads. We're gonna have a dry run the weekend before."
Yeah.
And now I was fixing all my stuff, and just as we were about to go live, I went to grab another beer, and we've got not a clue what we're doing this week. Not the faintest idea.
And I was shouting. All I could see was your shed with no one in it. And I'm watching the timer tick down because it ticks down to let us know when to go live. And I'm like, Chris, I need to go live. And he's running back in with a beer. I'm here.
And it's slightly concerning that we have literally no viewers today. That's been the worst ever. No one is watching this. It's just me and you, like the old days. Oh, we've got a viewer. What is the point? Why are we in here with 3 million degrees? My computer's literally melting. Yeah. The ports on the back are literally on fire. He's gone. Viewer's gone. Doesn't want to watch it. Why are we even bothering?
Chris.
3 million degrees.
2 words for you. Regular content.
Be handy if someone watched it, wouldn't it?
Oh, mate, how are you?
Fucking hell. I don't care about the monetization today. I couldn't give a shit.
Me and you need to talk. Oh, mate, what a day. Seriously, what a day.
What a day.
You've got your TV up and running again. I'm saying TV not as a layman, but the fact that he literally does use a 50-inch TV as a monitor.
55.
That 55. 5 inches count. But yeah, so yeah. How are you?
A bit unbothered. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm a bit unbothered.
Oh, bless you. I got to be honest with you.
So what?
I bet everyone's out in the gardens just enjoying it.
I'd like to be sat in a nice cold bath of ice.
So, welcome back. Welcome back to the stream. We are doing, what are we doing this week? We're doing the perfect setup. So this is something that we're going to be bringing in from time to time and discussing different kind of shooting layouts, different shooting setups, and what the perfect setup is for that particular setup. Now, most people who get into this industry and most people who kind of stay in this industry are run and gunners, kind of like you and me. So, Chris, what is the term run and gun?
It basically means... what does it mean? It means... What does it mean? That's quite an interesting question, that. Give me 1 second. I'm just sharing this on Facebook again, like we said we weren't going to do, because why not? I'm sure
Alan's on.
Alan!
Again. Happy birthday, Alan!
Yeah, happy birthday, mate, from last week. Can we start again? I mean, you are our only viewer, so we might as well roll the intro.
Oh, just get on with it. You've probably only got about 3 people watching anyway. They're all related. Oh, it's too hot for any of this. Just hurry up with the countdown. It's like you're doing a launch at NASA or something. Welcome to Masters of None. Coming up on tonight's show, the perfect setup run and gun edition. Run and gun. I thought this was about cameras. A gun. I don't know if I agree with any of it. Also, we'll have our picks of the week. So welcome to episode 10. How do we get there? The perfect setup, run and gun edition.
Hey, welcome back to the stream, everybody.
When I recorded that voiceover, I thought I was joking at like 3 people watching. It is too hot. I got to be honest with you. So yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back.
After that preamble, if you ever want to see that preamble, go back and watch back on either Chris Watkins Media or Musing of a Man. Today, we are hot and sweaty, and my computer is currently at 33.8 degrees, so it is actually going down.
That's
and we're
good.
talking about the perfect setup. So we're going to be talking about loads of different setups. I'm going to bring this in every now and again. And there are different setups for different scenarios. So this week is run and gun. Have you had a think? What does run and gun mean, Chris?
Well, it's interesting you should ask me that question, because no, I haven't. But I do know what a run and gun is. Are you dying? Is he frozen or is he dead?
I just took a drink when you said that.
Right, so run and gun setup, something you can grab really quickly, usually lightweight, pretty high performance camera. You can run and shoot with it, I guess, is the idea. You can just be anywhere at any time and just, I mean, it's not like something you sit on a tripod with a monitor on and a massive V-mount battery. It's something really lightweight that you can create pretty quickly and get around a lot of places. Does that make sense? I feel like I've got heat stroke.
It's like on the fly stuff. Literally, you're there, you're ready to shoot, and you're ready to move to whatever angle, whatever altitude. That's about right, isn't it? Whatever height that you need to. Trying to be too clever, and just get it shot, get it recorded, and get that footage. So that's kind of what a lot of us do. If you watched a few episodes back, we showed our first ever videos, corporate videos, and yours was the perfect run and gun setup, really, wasn't it? Because it was in a restaurant. It was nice. In a restaurant, running and gunning straight. I swear to God, the heat's getting to Chris. And yeah, that is a perfect run and gun example, really, isn't it? It's that kind of scenario where a client says, right, come and shoot this, and you just literally go. GoPro run and gun. Is that a question? Is a GoPro for a run and gun? Because we're talking predominantly client paying for stuff.
Yeah, but if you weren't,
no, GoPro is the perfect run and gun. I mean,
it's like the ultimate run and gun, isn't it? It's like it doesn't take up any space. It's got a microphone. I mean, you are definitely missing something.
That. We used to use the G7X Mark II to vlog. We now use that.
That's a good run and gun setup.
That, mate, is the Osmo Action with the USB Type-C converter in there to take an external mic, and that's a cheap. It's a cheap shotgun mic from MicMov. I did a review on my channel. Really, really impressed with it. And
your Gorilla Pod's broken.
Mate, this has been to Thailand and back and broken so many times on the way. It's the little Joby DSLR, and that works absolutely perfectly as a run and gun setup. Really, really does. As long as you can get close enough for the audio. If not, I'd use wireless, but I think we'll talk about that in a bit.
I was about to say thank you, everybody, for watching. That's the answer to the question. See you again next week. Go and enjoy a beer. No?
Cheers. See you later. I'm only joking. It's one of those nights.
Oh God, it's awful. I'm going to stop complaining about the heat.
Yeah, dude.
I literally glimmer. Look at this side of my face. Look at me. I'm so hot. Okay, last time I'm going to talk about the hotness, heatness.
Can I just say, in direct in direct response to no one watching when we first went live, I've just looked up in the studio and you've literally
There was no one there.
You've thrown it to everywhere. So yeah, you're right, Alan. Pro stuff, no. So personally, I would say DJI Osmo Action or the competitor with GoPro. I went with the Osmo Action purely because I thought it was a better all-round camera at the time. Their Rocksteady is brilliant. The footage is I just absolutely love it. We did our first, I know Alan jumped over to. Sorry, am I boring you, Chris? Are you okay there?
Cool.
No, sorry, my watch vibrated, and then I've got the Facebook stream open as well, just so I can see if anyone comments and we can actually
because
we can actually reply to them this time.
So yeah, Alan, you and I have been chatting a bit, and I know Emma's been replying to a few of your comments on our travel channel in our case, and that is exactly what we use for the whole of our vlog for the West Island Way. It was just perfect, and actually it was minus the microphone. It was the internal microphone all the way through that. I tweaked it a little bit in post, but other than that, that's exactly what was there. I'll chuck a link below. If anyone's watching this in the future, I'll chuck a link below on my channel to that playlist. Excuse me, I've had too much beer already. To that playlist because it's a really, really, really nice run and gun setup. If you're not pro, I know a number of pros do use actually action cameras as well at certain times, and they do have their place. But we're talking about full-on proper pro setup tonight, Christoph. Brilliant. You're not interested tonight, are you?
I just can't feel my face. Right. So, what are we gonna do? What are we doing? Hey, look! Wait! Big news, everybody! It just went ding. I just got another 100 subscribers. Oh, that's the weather.
And it's 26 degrees. And there's the radio. And it's not. Yeah.
There we go.
Mate, congrats. Seriously.
It's taken me about a month and a half to get that 100 subscribers. So
I'd just like to
could be
take
better.
a pause. I know we celebrated it a few streams ago, but I'm so proud of you that you got over that 10,000. I'm so proud of you. I really, really am. When you and I first started talking, I think I had more subscribers than you, and yet I'm still just over 4,000.
Yeah, but yours are growing quicker than mine. One day you're going to overtake. I have faith. Right. I think we should talk about what we're supposed to be talking about, because we've been live for 13 minutes now.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
That's not a problem. I mean, I thought you were apologizing to me. I am absolutely like on another planet tonight. I feel like I'm on drugs. So let's start with the first piece of the puzzle. I know I said I think it should be the gimbal, but I've changed my mind.
It's the camera.
It's the camera.
Yeah.
So what camera for you is your perfect run and gun setup?
My perfect run and gun is still currently.
It doesn't have to be the one you've got.
I don't really have that much experience with any other cameras other than the one I've got.
Right.
And the best camera to date for me is still the A7 III. It's actually teetering on top of a pack of tea lights for some reason. That's not the way to treat your camera. But yeah, it's the A7 III. I absolutely love it. A7 III, Samyang 18mm, and on that, which is the Weebill S. And that does me so well. I've done stuff that with that, I mean, I know you've got a hell of a lot more credits than me, but I've done stuff with that was actually seen on broadcast television last year. It works perfectly for me.
Good.
Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for watching. But you, on the other hand, are an APS-C legend, aren't you?
I don't know whether I'd call myself a legend. God, more.
Right. It's
Yeah.
the modesty that kicks in at that point, right?
So, my run and gun setup, we're going to pretend that this is a Sony A6600.
That says 6400 though, right?
Actually, it says 6300.
Oh,
I was looking for my 6500, but I don't know where it is. So we're going to stick with the A60. A60. What did I say? 600.
So why the 66 over any of the early ones?
Well, the 66 has got in-body image stabilization, and for me, I'm planning to put this on a gimbal. So the more stabilization I can get, the better, basically. Yeah. So this is actually an 8. Did I tell you what this actually was or not?
You said it was a 6300. I said it
is a 6300.
Well done, Chris.
Yeah, it is a 6300. And I'm actually going to be I'm going to be attempting to rig this up in a minute. I don't know whether I've got the patience to do it or not.
I'm looking forward to this.
But yeah, the reason I would pick the 6600 if I could is for the in-body stabilization, and also it's got the flippy uppy screen. It flips all the way up. Although you wouldn't ever use that on a gimbal, but if I could pick any camera at the minute, it would probably be the A7S III. But we're going to stick with a 6,000 line cameras.
So first and foremost, that's not the camera on its own with a lens. That's got something around it.
It's got a cage around it.
Okay. Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
You can see that. Why?
While we wait for Chris to find something. Bonjour, Matt O'Neill. Bonsoir. Il fait très chaud, c'est non?
Oui.
Brilliant.
French stick. That's the range of my knowledge. So the reason I have a cage on it when I have it on a gimbal is purely so I can put a battery bank on the top of it. Because for the best run and gun setup, you don't want it to die halfway through your shoot. So this will go for about 4 or 5 hours pretty happily with a cheap, I think £8.99 battery bank. Something's just came into my head. Marcus, is that who it is? Is that his name? I've forgotten. It might be Marcus. I think it is Marcus. Commented on last week's stream and said I look like Stevie Wonder because I'm always looking the wrong direction to where I'm talking.
Moving on.
Oh, that was funny though, wasn't it? That did make me giggle. Right. I think I'm a bit drunk,
Could be. Now the thing is, that's really, really good to actually get that power bank in there, because that saves you from having to hot swap in between. Look at him wiping his brow. It saves you having to hot swap in between batteries. And the A6000 range are notoriously really, really, really bad on batteries. I'm not too sure if the newer ones, the A6500 is better with battery. No, it's not. So you do either need a load of batteries or that power bank. And the power bank is better because, believe it or not, a battery, as it depletes, will actually shift weight a little bit. It will lose, I think it loses weight minusculely, but a gimbal will pick up on that, and you don't want to stress your motors any more than you need to. So that's why a power bank on there is great, because once you balance it with the power bank, it then kind of stays. In fact, I've got you to thank, Chris, because in one of the A7 III groups on Facebook, someone mentioned about shooting some stupidly long time lapse in this past week, and someone was saying, oh, maybe get a really big power source that you can plug in the charger to and all that. And someone said, set a timer and come and replace the battery and hot swap. And I said, why not just get a high capacity power bank and plug it in? And it was loaded. It was loaded in the group. They were like, oh, what a great idea. I didn't credit you. I just took full credit for it. But well done there. I'll give you the credit now.
Thanks. Well, in response to that, you're going to answer this question from Matt.
It depends on the make of the camera, because the power going into the side actually it bypasses the battery connections and goes into the camera, whereas some of them go through the battery, so it's charging. It's intended to charge the battery, and by way of that complete circuit being kept, it's charging the battery and powering, but the power is coming from the battery rather than the cable inside. As for what is different, I don't think the Sony need a battery inside to play if you've got a power inside. In fact, I don't think you do. The Canons do. Chris, you've got more experience with Sonys.
I don't understand your answer. What was the last bit? Sony, you do need a battery or you don't need a battery?
I don't think you need a battery in a Sony to power it with a power cable.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so effectively, we're doing the same thing as the Canons. So the power is coming through the battery into the camera. So as the power comes out of the battery, it's being replaced by the mains that's going into the side or from a power bank. So you're effectively ruining the battery inside.
Yeah. The odd thing is, though, my A6400, which is there, that's funny. That is being charged off of a USB connection, but going to a dummy battery. So USB cable obviously has enough power to keep the camera on. That camera is actually being charged by my telly.
Right, yeah, but the dummy battery inside is continuing the connection that a normal battery would continue.
Can you tell that neither me or Adam have a clue what the answer to that question is? I don't know of a camera.
Don't know.
That will work without a battery in it.
No, I think you're right.
But there probably is one. I mean, if you use a dummy battery, then yes, there are most cameras will do it.
Yeah.
But
and a dummy battery is effectively an empty unit that goes into the battery compartment, shaped exactly the same as the battery with the same connections, but rather than coming from a lithium ion cell inside, the power is actually being fed from external. So you're not effectively killing a battery while you're powering it, which is what a lot of people do. You're using a dummy battery on there for your permanent A6400 you got there to flip you up screen. I'm thinking,
who knows?
Right at this point, who cares?
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Like, if you weren't doing this professionally,
yeah,
what camera would you go for?
You see, that's really hard.
Stick with the Osmo.
Yeah.
Like, for a run and gun setup for me,
yeah,
it's all about the weight. So your Osmo is absolutely perfect. But if we were stepping up from the Osmo but stepping down from the A7 III, is there any? Sorry, I just burped. Any middle ground?
I think I probably would join you on that middle ground with a Sony. Actually,
I'm thinking like Sony RX100.
RX100, exactly where I was going. I was thinking, but actually, because the RX100 gives you much more portability, but almost the crop body Sony quality, doesn't it? Really, it's what I was actually thinking for our next vlogging upgrade once we outgrew the Osmo Action, was that kind of thing. But the ZV looks quite nice as well. The ZV-1.
The ZV's got mic input and output, which is nice, whereas the RX100 doesn't, unless you go for the Mark 6.
Oh, really?
I think the Mark 6 is the only one that does. Might be the Mark 7. Can't remember. One of them does.
Yeah.
But I like the ZV-1 as well. I nearly bought one of them.
To stay in the whole Sony thing, I'd probably go with the RX100 or possibly the ZV. The ZV was what I was looking at when I was actually considering also this A6300 that I'm using here. But as you know, at the point where I was starting to bid, I got this for a pretty decent deal on eBay. So I just kind of snapped at it, really.
Yeah.
Chris is my go-to.
That was really funny.
What's that?
You're like, when I started to bid, the price was really good, but by the end of the auction, it wasn't great anymore.
It was all right. I got a good deal. I got a good. I was happy with the deal.
You did, and that camera on a gimbal would be pretty good.
I've used it already, and it's really, really quite nice. So that's your camera. So we're now talking what are you going to then? Are we going to go lens? Because I mean, run and gun setup. You want to kind of cover all bases with a run and gun. So I'm assuming you're going to want to go wide without going ultra wide for barrel distortion, aren't you?
Yeah, but just before we jump over to that, I used to have a very nice run and gun setup, which was also really heavy. So a run and gun setup doesn't necessarily have to be light. I shot a whole festival on a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera on a gimbal, and the footage is stunning. Yeah. It's like so good, but it was a lot of effort. So I think for me, the perfect run and gun setup isn't necessarily the lightest. It's the one where I can get the best results. That's what a run and gun setup is. If I was on my A6300 or 6400, 6500, 6600, would I have got the same results with the Blackmagic? I don't know, but I really enjoyed shooting on something a little bit different.
Because that's the Blackmagic shoots ProRes as well, right?
Yeah, ProRes RAW.
So we're talking for those who are photographers, RAW obviously is unprocessed image, and you do whatever the hell you like with it. There's so much protection for your shadows and for your highlights. The same goes with ProRes RAW. It's pretty much the same for video, and it's just, but the size of those files, Chris.
Yeah. I used to have a 256 gig SSD, and I could get 8 minutes of footage on it. It's ridiculous.
Whereas I get on average about an hour on a 64 gig SD card.
Yeah, so it's really like it's the perfect balance, isn't it? It's the run and gun setup is you're looking for the perfect balance between quality, file size, portability.
Exactly that.
This is what we should have started with. This is exactly what we should have started with. But we're here now. We'll carry on because what did you say earlier? Consistent something content. So let's now jump to lenses. So would you go for a prime lens or would you go for a zoom lens? What would you be looking at putting on your A7 III?
Well, I think exactly that. I think a zoom lens is exactly what's needed for a run and gun to cover all bases. However, what's currently in my kit, I literally, and this is why I would still also stick with the A7 III. I use the 18mm on there. The Samyang 18mm, it's sharp enough for what I'm doing. It's actually quite sharp, to be fair. But with the A7 III, I can punch into Super 35, and then I can also punch in further with the clear image zoom. So I effectively, on the A7 III, get 3 different focal ranges from one lens. Obviously, if where my position is limited, I can punch in at least a bit to get the framing or composition that I want. But given the choice, and if money wasn't an option, which it always is, I would definitely go for some form of zoom. I'm assuming you're going to go for the Sigma.
Yeah, I am. I'm just going to address Alan's comment beforehand. What do you think to this? What are we thinking?
Have you used Panasonic?
Yeah, I owned a GH4 for a while. I owned a GH5S for a very brief amount of time. They're incredible cameras, but micro four thirds does not suit my shooting style. Is it the S5? It's the Panasonic S5, which Caleb from DSLR Video Shooter uses, and I love the image that comes out of that. So I'd love to try it. My GH4, I had that for like a year, and I never really used it. I only had the one lens because I was already invested in Sony. I already had Sony lenses. I wasn't going to keep spending money on new lenses that wouldn't work with my current setup. So I did end up selling it. But very good value cameras now. If you can get you can get GH4 for like, what, 400 quid probably now. I would be surprised if you can't get it any cheaper than that.
I used a GH5S extensively for about 6 months or so. That was before I got the A7 III. It was actually an in-house job, and I enjoyed it. I think the flat profile was really, really nice to it. and yeah, really enjoyed it. But the main thing I rate the Lumix range for is the app. The app when you're
the app does look good.
Oh my god! When you're a self shooter, the app is so handy, especially when you're doing corporate stuff. I was in house with a corporate company, and I was presenting their videos, and they didn't really have the budget after getting everything that was needed to make a video on stuff like field monitors and all that kind of stuff. In fact, I think I provided the audio capture by a way of the Zoom H5 and by way of the Zoom H5 and a lav mic. So using the app was so good, and it's if Sony could just reverse engineer that and put that to their cameras, I think it would be a game changer.
Yeah. Have you seen the new A7S? The new A7S3 is the app is incredible.
Is it?
Yeah, really good. It's like wireless video monitor on your phone, no lag, absolutely perfect. Everyone's been raving about it, so I'm very excited to have a go with that.
Just like what Panasonic have been doing for years.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So me, it's going to be the Sigma 16mm. I feel like I talk about this lens on every single stream, on every video that I make about cameras. This lens pops up. It's just like old faithful for me.
Yeah,
I've used it for such a long time, and if I can't get the shot with this, I can't get the shot. Like if I'm too far away from something, I'll move. I know me and you are slightly different. I shoot a lot of events, a lot of weddings. If I need to zoom in on something, I just get closer to it.
You'll zoom with your feet.
Yeah, I'll zoom with my feet because I just trust this lens more than any other lens I've ever used.
How many times would you say that lens has paid for itself?
Oh, 100.
Wow.
Easily, this lens has made 30 grand, I would think.
Really?
Yeah, I really would. Yeah, definitely. 100%.
So does the Sigma, that's the Sigma 16-35. What's the,
no. Sigma 16 Prime.
Just 16.
Yeah, Prime 1.4.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. 1.4.
Yeah.
Is it an art lens?
No, it's a contemporary lens, so art lens are for full frame. No, they're not. Art lens are for Canon.
Right.
Contemporary are for E-mount, I believe.
You see, I'm still harking back to my days with Canon. Okay, cool. So is that stabilized?
No. So
it needs stabilization.
It needs some sort of form of stabilization, whether that's in body or on a gimbal. Even with in-body stabilization, if you're shooting with this handheld, it's not brilliant.
It's 16 though, so I mean, it's wide enough to at least give you a little bit of room for maneuver.
It's not brilliant.
Okay, so how do we stabilize it?
I need a gimbal.
Stabilize it for
a gimbal.
Well, show me. Okay, so Chris has had
unpacking this.
Chris has had a Ronin SC that died on him.
Yeah,
was it the Ronin SC died on him?
I don't have a great track record with gimbals in general.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. He's not great with gimbals. They kind of do tend to.
No, I do. I am very good with gimbals, but I break them.
Yeah, pull down your shotgun. Yeah, he does. He like hello. He does break them. Also, Chris isn't necessarily that well behaved with a lot of his hardware. We talked last week about how I chucked a monopod onto the bottom of a gimbal because it's so helpful to be able to get some form of jib movement with a gimbal on a monopod. I think it's just the most beautiful way to get an expensive looking shot. And I use them on the bottom of gimbals quite a lot. Chris lost a gimbal. I'm sure he'll tell us at some point if he hasn't already in a future stream or maybe this one, how he oh my God, this looks lovely. how he lost a monopod. So this is Christoph.
This is the Moser Air 2S. So Moser sent me this a couple of weeks ago now. I've used it on a couple of shoots, and it's literally the best gimbal I've ever used. There will be a video coming out very shortly about this gimbal. It's just a joy is the best word to describe it. I've spent a lot of money on gimbals in the past, and this one is the best one I've ever used by far. I'm just gonna put a camera on it, and I'm gonna tell you why I like it. So the main reason I really like it is that I can power the camera off of the gimbal, so I don't even have to have a power bank. I can just power the camera directly off the gimbal. You know, I might have run into a little bit of a problem here in the fact that I'm not quite sure where the base plate is for this. It might be on a camera that's in my flight case. I might have to run and get it.
So Chris mentioned there how he's able to power. Go and find that, Chris. So Chris mentioned how he's able to power the camera from the gimbal. Up until recently, I mean, I've been using the Weebill S for a long time now. In fact, let me just grab it. For a long time. And I've literally been using it the dumbest way possible, in as much as putting the camera on the gimbal, leveling it, and just setting off and going for it. And what I didn't realize at the time was just, if I spent that little bit of extra time just learning about the different ports around the gimbal, how much better it works. So underneath here, you have a transmission mount. It's an optional extra, but I bought it. I swear that's failing now. A transmission mount that goes underneath here, plugs into the side of the camera, and you can view on a phone to the side, another mount somewhere, and that's worked brilliantly. Also, this side, you've got a port on the back there. You've also got a port on the front here, right there. Now, this port on the back purely powers the transmission mount underneath, what actually sends the signal to your phone. But on the front here, you can power the camera. You can also, no, you can't. You power the follow focus that can go in here as well. I've got that. And around on this side, coming out of the transmission mount, which I don't currently have, goes into the camera in the multi-port. And not only does that help you be able to operate the camera, which I never bothered with, because in all honesty, it didn't work when I first got it. So I just gave up on it because I didn't have the time to experiment. But it now not only powers the camera, but it also allows you to trigger, record, and pause, and all the other settings, which I know Chris is going to wax lyrically about on this. The thing is that with the Weebill S, it's almost like a retrofit, which really, to be honest with you, is frustrating, because I've learned how to use that gimbal in a certain way. Now I'm having to relearn and unlearn certain ways in which I use the gimbal to be able to use these new features. This is a brand new gimbal that's just come out very, very recently, and it's already it's fully R&D'd before it got out, so it works. That looks like a beast already.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit of a beast. And on that subject, it is heavy. Like, compared to my Ronin SC, it weighs probably a third more, I would say. So it does strain your back a little bit. But this thing can take a Red if you want it to. It can take a Z cam. It can take pretty much any camera you can throw at it because of the way it's designed. There's nothing that's going to get in the way. It's very much like the Ronin S. With a few more features thrown in for fun, I think. And it's got a trigger on the front, like the Ronin S. And with that trigger, you can also... Have you got a little trigger? Yeah, nice. Nice little trigger. Are you going to rig yours up? No. Ah, well, that's lazy. So with that trigger, I can set that trigger to do whatever I want. So I can set that trigger to focus. I can set that trigger to record. I can get it to take a picture. I can do anything I want with that trigger, which is a real luxury for me because I've been using gimbals in the past, which just stabilize the camera. That's all they do. And this does.
They're almost dumb.
More.
They're
Yeah,
almost
I know what
dumb.
you mean when you said they're dumb because they really are. This is intelligent. If you plug just a simple cable in, this little cable, you plug that into the camera, plug it into the gimbal, and it becomes very intelligent. Are you rigging yours up now? You feel inadequate.
Called me lazy, didn't you?
I wish I had some like better lighting. There we go. That doesn't look too bad.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So you've got your run and gun setup there for video.
Yeah.
If you were to put your cable in the side, which you're obviously not going to because you're lazy. See, this is another reason why I'm annoyed that I have to relearn, is because I have this set up so when it's just all the way compact, it falls forward because to counterbalance, I've got that pulled out because I'm used to not being able to transition it or transmit it to somewhere else. Now I don't need to do that as long as I've got a spare phone. And if you're a YouTuber who gets sent phones, you've got a spare phone. What was I going to say? So you got your run and gun set up for video. How do you then incorporate audio into that?
Okay. Oh, I don't know what happened there. My voice disappeared.
Hello?
I generally I use the Rode Wireless Go 2, which I've got in this little baggie. So I would put the transmitter on the top of the camera, so I don't need the power bank anymore. I'll get rid of the power bank. And I can put that transmitter in the hot shoe mount of the cage. And actually, because this is the wrong camera, I've not got all the accessories on it that I actually need. But I do have some little brackets that fit onto the cage. And I keep the two... Sorry, this is the receiver, not the transmitter. I keep the two receivers on the side of the cage. So I don't have to get them out of the bag. I don't have to do anything like that. I just take them off the side of the camera, give them to the people that I need. They're always in a place where I can really easily access them. I will grab another camera quickly because I just found the camera when I was looking for the base plate. And I'll show you what those brackets look like.
So what Chris means there is when he's talking about like giving it to certain people, Chris does a lot of weddings. So one will definitely go, I don't know if he wants to share this this little tip. I think it's brilliant. But one will go on the celebrant who's conducting the ceremony, and the other will go, Chris?
On the groom, in the groom's pocket.
Not on the bride?
Not on the bride, because the grooms will pick her up, and you don't really want a black microphone on a white wedding dress. You can get white versions, and some people do mic up the bride, but it's not something we do.
No. Perfect.
So this is how I have. Is it going to focus? Let me get out of the shot, and then it might focus.
Yeah, we got that. Yeah. So there's your. That's a transmitter there.
That's a transmitter, and I don't usually have it there. I have it usually a bit higher up. But you'll have both transmitters on there, so you don't have to worry about finding them. They're just there, ready to use. I thought about this when I had my Blackmagic setup because the cage was so much bigger. There was so much room on it. I was like, what else can I stick on it to make it look better? But I used to just store things around it, all around the camera. I used to just store what I might need on a shoot, and that's kind of translated down into this setup that I use now.
But was that also required on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera? I mean, so it rolls off the tongue. It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first got the Weebill S and looking at all the groups, they were literally struggling to counterbalance it because it's such a stupidly designed camera in terms of ergonomics, because it's way over to one side. Granted, a camera like this is ever so slightly off to one side, but it's so side heavy and front heavy, I think I'm right in saying, I've never even put my hands on one, that so many people will come up with stupid stuff like a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera on here, and they were putting like stupid weights all the way over here, all the way over the back, putting it on a riser and everything, just to get it to balance.
Yeah, so the Blackmagic wouldn't work with my Ronin SC. It just wouldn't. You would have to buy so many weights, and I'm all about saving weight. I don't want to add weight just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
My Crane 2 Blackmagic pocket cinema camera worked beautifully on it. Didn't have to change anything. I think because of the design of this, it would work exactly the same way. You could use the Moser Air 2S in exactly the same way with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. I'm out of breath saying that.
Does most importantly, does your gimbal have a selfie mode?
It does, with the triple click.
Yeah.
But I can assign my triple click to do whatever I want. Yeah, so at the moment, yes, it does do selfie mode. Let's do double click to get it back. But I can set that triple click to do any function. I can have a different function if I hold the trigger, if I double press the trigger, if I move. It's got loads of dials on the back, which I'm not used to. And I can change the deadpan really quickly, the dead zone. If I want it to move quicker, all I have to do is spin that wheel and it changes.
What does that do then? That just like cranks up the motors to be super responsive.
Yeah, it almost puts it in sports mode, so it spins really quickly. And if I take that back down to 0, or really close to 0, it takes forever to turn.
Yeah.
And I've never had these options before.
Yeah. Especially to be able to do it so quickly. I mean, on the Weeble S, you've got the options to do that, to dial in your settings, but not as
in the app.
It's a deep dive. It's not as stupid deep dive as the menu is on the A7 III, but I mean it's pretty close. Like, but looking at that, I've got one of these, which only really works when I've got it plugged in and does me clear image zoom, or if I've got the follow focus on, I can use it with there. But that has a little handle on it, so that's your tilt. Yeah, please tell me you can change it to your own roll as well.
Yeah, so if I press the menu button, I can do roll. If I press it again, I can do pan in. And if I move it quicker, it goes all the way around. And that's it. That's all that does.
What would you use that for? Would you use that to fine tune and set up motion lapse?
You know what? I was using this the other day to shoot a music video, and it was the second thing I'd ever shot with it. And I was in a very tight space, and I had a 50mm lens on here, and I had this on top of a gimbal, not on top of a gimbal, on top of a monopod. So I was trying to get really fine movements because I was in a tight space. I was really zoomed in. I didn't have much room to move about, and I was actually panning. I was panning the gimbal by turning the handle. And I was controlling the tilt with the little, I'm just trying to find the right setting, that one. I was controlling the tilt with the little wheel. So I was panning with the handle. That isn't tilting at the minute. It's not panning, is it? Tilting. I've got it set really slow. That's why it is. So if I set that really high again, there we go. So I was panning with my hands. Whoa, that made a sound. It's because I've not balanced it very well. But yeah, that's what I was using it for. I'm not going to try and demonstrate it.
That's brilliant, though. I think the main thing I took from you just doing that is the fact that you realized that the motors weren't going quick enough, and you were able, literally in a couple of clicks, to just rectify that. And that's the kind of thing you need to be able to do on a run and gun setup. You need to be able to reassign your gear, whether it be one piece of equipment or the whole thing of it, to do something quickly and switch it, because circumstances will change. You need to balance that before you do that. I really wouldn't kill those motors, Chris. This is why gear doesn't last that long with Chris, because he just likes to play.
That's why I don't get nice things, or nice things don't last with me anyway.
So you touched on the fact that with Rode, you generally take the receiver and you chuck it on top, and that then records the audio from a transmitter to the receiver into the camera. So you've got that. The thing is, I've got a cage for the A7 III.
You've got a really nice cage for the A7 III, and I'm very sad you don't use it.
I don't think it's the cage you like. I think it's the top handle that you're more interested in. And I do know that I'm going to bring this back into my workflow because I got it for a reason, and I really, really like it. The reason why I took it out of my workflow is because the side here, with the stupid design of the door openings on the side, can you? On the side, that made no difference whatsoever. Of the Sony, can you see? Kind of. These doors are stupid.
Can you not take the doors off? I feel like you can take the doors off.
You can, but then you don't have any weatherproofing if you ever need it, and you need weatherproofing when you think you're never going to need it. Do you know what I mean? So I haven't removed them, and I kind of will.
You haven't got any weatherproofing anyway because your door doesn't shut.
Yeah. So this is another thing. Run and gunning is very, very important in as much as you need to make sure that your kit works exactly how you need to. Now here, you've got it on there as well. We're in what Xion call vertical mode. So you can go like that with your camera. Now, I know I've already said this on the stream, but I did that once and it wasn't all the way in the plate. So as a result, my door on the side of the Sony doesn't close. This door to the SD cards doesn't close. That's a really, really good point, Chris. I might as well just wreck my camera further to make it easier. Because, yeah, the sides of the small rig cage really, really have a problem with the doors, really, really. That's
the third time you've said it, but I didn't pick you up.
It has a real problem with the Sony A7 III. But I will bring this back in because it's such a lovely, lovely cage. And actually, it gives a really, really nice weight to a gimbal setup. Because sometimes, especially with the A7 III and especially with the APS-C line of Sony's, they're quite light. So you do sometimes need to give it that little bit more weight. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but you do sometimes need to weigh down the gimbal to give it almost like a... Am I wrong in thinking that? Am I just...
No, not at all. That? No, so this... when I first got this gimbal, I actually put my A6400 on it, which I don't own a cage for. So I put the A6400 on it and I couldn't balance it because it wasn't heavy enough, which shocked me. And I was like, oh, God, what am I going to do? And I didn't think the cage would be enough weight to change that. But it turns out it is just about enough. So you're 100% right in saying that. Like heavier cameras generally do better on a gimbal than lighter cameras.
You're saying that's the Air 2 from Moser?
Air 2S.
Air 2S that handles even up to a red. The Weebill 2, that's the Weebill S. The Weebill 2 apparently also takes. You know your man from Momentum Productions with the hair. You seen him?
Your
man. That's my Irish heritage. That your man with the hair. He's just been.
Yeah, I know who you're on about.
Yeah, he's just been playing with the red on a Weebill 2, and it looks absolutely spot on. So yeah, weigh it down, really, really weigh it down.
Really.
So really. So that's the audio. We've got about 5 minutes left. Lighting. You don't bother, do you?
Nope.
No.
Do you?
On a run and gun, no. However, previous client who I loved, that's between me and Chris. There was a time just towards the end of our time with him that I got a cob light that was battery powered. We mentioned it on I think we mentioned it on a couple of streams now, and it's the Godox ML60, and it's just brilliant. Sony MPF batteries straight in there, and it's literally the most powerful the most powerful flashlight you've ever had, and that with a decent modifier just works brilliantly. But that then speaks to my A7 III as a run and gun, because if I'm not bringing lighting, I'm going to lean towards the A7 III because I know that it does better in low light, not only because it's full frame, but also because it handles high ISO so well. Good. Glad we had that chat.
I don't know whether I agree that you should have any lighting on a run and gun setup.
Yeah,
because I think you could. The thought I keep having, I might even show you. I'll see. I got my legs gone to sleep. Let me show you a little video. It might take me a minute to find.
The reason why I think that lighting, you go ahead. The reason why I think lighting sometimes, or you go with the option of lighting in mind, is also down, for me, in my personal experience with audio. There's a client who we shoot for, who the brief for the latest shoot was, come down, we're just going to shoot a bit of B-roll for promo for FB ads and for some marketing that we might be using in listings in on high street websites or well-known brand websites. And it was like, great, cool. So the night before, as always, you prep your game. You're right. Okay, what we're going to need? Okay, we're going to need this. Done. Go. That place is about 3 hours from us. And while we're there for the whole day. And just towards the end, the client says, oh, how do you fancy? I just want to record a few pieces to camera about this, that, and the other. And I said, well, I haven't brought any mics. And clients especially can quite often not, people who aren't in the industry, people who don't know cameras and all that, may not think that to record something speaking to camera, you're going to need a microphone. Now, for anyone watching there who doesn't necessarily understand what's happening here in this stream, I'm using an expensive camera. I'm not using a webcam. Chris, gives a wave, is also using an expensive camera. I'm using a 200-pound shotgun microphone through a 200-pound audio interface, so there's decent audio. Chris, gives a wave, is doing the same. The problem is that the amount of times I've gone to a shoot that the brief hasn't included audio and they've wanted audio. Similar with lighting. I go to a shoot and they're like, oh, yeah, it's really, really bright. You get there and you're okay, it's bright lighting, but it's not. It's bright for their eyes, but you know your camera needs more light. Do you understand? Am I making any sense here? Have I gone down a rabbit hole that doesn't really exist?
No, I get what you mean. I did a shoot last Thursday and I was in the car on the way and got a phone call saying, oh, are you bringing any microphones with you? Because we want to do some interviews whilst we're there. And I was like, oh, God. That isn't usually part of my setup for these guys, so I just didn't bother. I did happen to have them on me.
These
we never used them in the end, but yeah.
But that's why the Rodes are so good, because they don't take up that much space. And actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people are getting used to seeing something like that clipped in shot. I hate it, but it's getting
it as well.
It's getting more and more accepted. I saw a sponsored advert on Facebook the other day for someone who's doing yoga classes, and she's wearing Lycra and got a bloody thing just plugged in. I'm like, that looks awful.
Yeah. DIY Perks. I don't know whether you've ever seen him.
I love him.
He started wearing one, and it drives me up the wall. Can I show you? I'll show you something just before we leave, and it kind of emphasizes my point. This is quite an old video. This was shot on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. A lot of this was shot on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. And this is like the ultimate run and gun setup for me, because we were shooting for 2 days for the same festival, and I was out filming for 12 hours a day, and I only took a gimbal and a camera. So this is like, I don't know what the word is. There's a word I'm looking for, and I can't think what it is.
You needed simplicity.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't remember why I'm showing you this now, but a run and gun setup needs to be something you can shoot all day with, doesn't it? You can't be shooting. I remember what it was. Lighting. So for this is the perfect example of something you can shoot with a run and gun setup, but I wouldn't ever take lighting to an event like this.
Right.
I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can hear it. Can you hear it?
No, you got it muted. Coming through your mic, but yeah, turn it
This
up.
is not the right video. It's
job.
the right footage, but it's not the right version of the edit because somebody else edited it. Oh, that's very sad because... Oh. Hey, there's us.
Hey.
Why isn't it there? When did we shoot it? 2019. This might be it.
Oh.
This looks like something to do with Canada. This is the right year, but again, the wrong video.
I was about to say, you filming on a phone.
This is all my footage, so we're gonna just watch it in mute because I didn't edit this. I feel like this has been ripped off of YouTube and someone's re-uploaded it and edited it.
It's a bit naughty.
It is because I shot all of this, but this isn't uploaded by the people that it should have been uploaded by. Someone's nicked it. But yeah, I was at this festival shooting all day with just a simple setup, and I was able to get some really nice shots because I could get anywhere. I could get in between the crowds. I could get on stage. It wasn't an issue. If I had a big rig, there's no way I would have been able to do it.
No, absolutely. And just, I mean, while we're watching this, to remember that I'm assuming this has been uploaded in 1080, but you filmed in at least 4K on the Blackmagic.
Yeah, it was in 4K. It was all in 4K, so I'm a bit devastated that the original doesn't seem to be on YouTube anymore, and this rubbish version with different music is. But hey, that's a famous rapper. I shot that. I don't know who his name is.
I didn't see him. Did you reverse that?
I haven't edited. I didn't edit it. Someone else edited it.
Oh, okay.
That guy. Oh,
I don't know who that is.
Dizzy Rascal or someone. I don't know.
Dizzy Rascal.
It wasn't him.
I got you all in jet. Was it?
I don't know. My business partner Anya absolutely loved him. Oh, these guys were great. Little old couple that were dancing and went every year, but yeah. Perfect run and gun situation.
You said you can run and gun all day with it, but knowing that the camera was the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, how many times were you swapping SD cards?
I had an SSD on it. So with the Blackmagic, you can shoot in RAW, which 256 gigabyte SSD, 8 minutes of footage, like I said before, but you can compress that RAW down. So I ended up with I think about 8 hours of footage on a 258 gigabyte card. It's still RAW, but it's just compressed RAW, so it's not as space hungry, really.
Yeah, but looking at it, I mean, you've kept all the highlights there. There's no real noise in the darks either. So I mean, you've definitely maintained.
You know what? Some of this is A6300.
No way.
Yeah. So that's A6300. All of this is A6300. I didn't shoot this. Anya shot this. So it matches really well, but you wouldn't tell that I'm on a very expensive, very heavy camera, and Anya's on a very inexpensive, cheap, small, light camera.
Yeah. So actually, you've made the point there that it's not necessarily, it's not what you do, it's what you do with it, isn't it? And it's how you get it. You don't necessarily need that stupidly expensive setup. You just need to know how to use it and the limitations of what you're using.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
There we go.
I've enjoyed that.
I feel like it was an absolute car crash, but
happy 10th episode.
Yeah, we're getting there, aren't we? One day it'll be happy year anniversary.
Have we known each other for a year yet? I think we've just
must have done by now.
Yeah, it's been a while. Feels like longer.